so we are down to the final stretch. This is the most important panel of the whole conference, so those who are missing it are going to be very disappointed that they haven't stayed for this session. So I would like to invite my panelists on stage, and hopefully they are in the room. Oh yeah, they are. Ondrej is in the back. All right. So. So the session has a longer title. It's The Mix, and we're going to talk about slots, gamification, esports, game development, and unfortunately we have to skip the Metaverse because Linda could not make it for the session due to some personal issues. So I have with me Alexis Wicén, CEO and founder of Unibo and Scatters, Ondrej Lapides, CEO of Tomhorn Gaming, Alexander Chernavin, Senior Business Development Manager at Odin. So guys, everyone just give a short introduction of themselves before we dive into the questions.
Yeah, we can start. So as you said, my name is Alexander Chernavin. I'm Senior Business Development Manager at Odin.gg. The company is the leader in the esports betting industry on the market, and personally I have 8 years of experience in betting industry, both from the provider side and from the operator side.
All right, Ondrej.
Hello everyone, my name is Ondrej Lapides. I am CEO of Tomhorn Gaming. I'm more than 17 years in the industry. Tomhorn is doing RNG casino games, aggregation, and I work closely also with Absolute Live, where we're doing the live dealer studio setup in various locations.
All right, Alexis?
I've been in the industry for 15 years now. I'm the CEO of Unibo. We produce gamification systems for online casinos. I've been running online casinos for the last 13 years as well, so I have some experience in this.
Okay, so since you have the most experience in this, I will ask you the first question. So, what motivates people to play games or gamble?
Oh, there's a lot of different things that motivate people to gamble, but I think in general it's entertainment. Very few people believe that they're gonna win when they go and gamble. They do it because they want to have fun. They, of course, hope that they're gonna win. It's always great to win, but it's a way to relax, a way to entertain yourself, a way to have fun either by yourself or with friends.
All right, so, and I think that game developers are using player psychology when developing games. So how can game developers use player psychology to create compelling or engaging game experiences for their audience?
I think in general that, we see that gamification or like games have used a lot of different tools to keep players engaged, give them a reason outside of just gambling. Like for example, if you play any sort of other games, there's always another reason to play, if you're playing Super Mario, you're there to save the princess, right? Or Zelda, or Link has to save Zelda in that game. So it's always, I would always tell people that there's a great book written by Yukai Xiaoshu, and he's created a framework for gamification where he looks at 8 different areas that motivate people, whether that's intrinsic or extrinsic motivation, and I think that's really the different areas you should look at.
Okay, so Ondrej, I'm going to ask you about game development. Since we're touching this subject with Alexis about how can game developers, or maybe what challenges do they face when creating experiences and creating them for responsible gaming experiences?
Well, I would say that as a game developers, we focus on the game to be attractive and engaging. Now every player has different profile and every person has different parameters, I would say. So somebody people have different habits, and for somebody, some habit is okay to some level, and then can be maybe unresponsible, you know, can have like some addictions, and so for us as game developers, it's kind of impossible to identify these things because we don't know who is the player, and we don't know which other games he is playing. We don't know how much he spent this year, this month, what is his income. Like operators has these things and this information, and I know in UK it's like pretty strict in this, and to operate in UK you need to have AI which kind of can identify like some behavior which can be risky. But like for us game developers, we try to make games engaging, entertaining. You know, we want players come back to our game. You know, because for as was said, it's entertainment for more. And yes, it can be harmful when like many other things. Therefore, there should be some reasonable regulation. Yeah, this is what I think.
Right, so Alexander, I'm going to ask you this: that how do you differentiate between game development and esports, and what are the key differences between these two industries?
Yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. Actually, obviously, it is connected, right? Because esports is competitive landscape of playing the games, right? But at the same time, both of those industries are huge. Actually, we can even add esports betting industry as a third one, and all of them are interconnected, but they're quite different. Maybe like to compare it with traditional sports, we have an ice hockey world championship now, and I would say that gaming is compared to ice hockey is like equipment. So a lot of people buy skates, for example. Not all of them play hockey. Then a lot of people also like to play amateur hockey. So with their friends, they buy equipment, and this is a huge industry, right? So this sports equipment, there are lots of companies who are earning a lot of money there. But there is a completely different like industries, competitive ice hockey, right? And again, there are people who play with their friends, but they don't watch those games. And obviously, there is a huge amount of people who like to watch competition, but they cannot skate maybe. So this is exactly the difference with esports and gaming. And some game titles are like they're covering both, right? So Counter-Strike is the biggest one, and obviously there are a lot of people who just like to play it for fun, and there's competitive. There are obviously a lot of games like Zelda. You cannot play it as an esport. So those are the main differences.
Yeah, I know that we're focusing more on the gaming industry, but yeah, it's funny that how during this competition usually the sales of sports equipment rise, and it must be some sort of addiction as well. I can say that I'm addicted to buying running shoes, I confess. And it's not related to any competition I watch or anything like that, I just like running shoes. But yeah, I can call it an addiction, so I need help and ask maybe ASICS or Nike to have responsible programs for some shoe addictions and stuff like that, if we're talking about responsible gaming, because this is the most scrutiny that the industry has been received in the recent years. So maybe
just one quick comment, because I really like your example, and to be honest, when I speak to friends who don't know about gambling industry, for example, and all those addictions, and obviously there is some perception that this is something bad, and I explain it exactly the same way, that people are doing it for entertainment, for fun, and there are some people who, for example, you say just running, but there's also triathlon, right? And there you need an expensive bike, shoes, swimming equipment, maybe not that expensive, but still the costs are huge, and especially if you try to participate in different competitions, travel costs, and so on. And again, yeah.
Want to add something, Ondrej?
Well, I had similar examples, I just didn't want to push it a bit like this. But everything, I think, can be what is good is addicted, what is fun is addicted, right? So can be harmful, right? Something more, something less. So yeah, there should be some kind of regulation. I agree. But not for coffee.
Exactly, not for coffee or work if you're a workaholic. So, Alexis, can you explain how slots games and gamifications are interrelated?
Yeah, sure. I mean, slots, nowadays, as everyone here knows, there's tons and tons of game providers, game studios.
Every week they are launching at least 5.
Last year, they probably has read somewhere around 6,000 slots released or something like that from many different providers. And I mean, to differentiate yourselves or online casinos to differentiate yourself, because there's obviously very many of those as well. You can't just have all the same games that everyone else has. You have to have additional promotions or things that you make players want to stay and play at your place instead of going somewhere else and taking that first deposit bonus there. So you try to add these different layers on top of the games. That doesn't really take away from the game itself, because in the end, the players are there to play the games, they like the games, and those are the ones they want to play. But a little bit extra on top that we see in games, normal mobile games and so on. There's many different mobile games that are very similar to each other, that adds a little bit like challenges, daily challenges, missions, achievements, all these extra things that gives a little bit of dopamine for players when they click that claim button because they managed to, I don't know, kill 10 people in Counter-Strike or something similar like that.
Alright, so Alexander, I would ask you about gamification.